We are about 1.5% higher, and that is the good thing. The question is, can we build on from there? And I think that's what we need to figure out. The reason I'm looking at my phone is that our next guest has given some very interesting charts on what the big term picture looks like, medium term picture looks like. That's Gautam Shah from Goldilocks Premium Research. Gautam, thanks so much for joining in, and congratulations. You recently won at the Global Technical Analyst Awards declared in London as well. So congratulations on that. I think you yourself were a personal winner too, so keep that up. Tell us, what does the near term look like for our markets, Gautam?
Well, Neeraj, morning. It's really been all over the place in the last couple of weeks. You know, the market has pretty much stayed in that band. We have been of the view that this band of about 9,050 to 9,450 was a sort of a distribution phase. We broke down from this band a couple of days back with great volumes, participation across the board, and the momentum, the kind of momentum that you saw in the month of March. And we want to believe that the writing is on the wall. You know, the market is not reacting to good news, whether it's the economic package or whether it's the strength that's come from global markets, the fact that oil has run up so much, you know, VIX has stabilized. Despite all of these factors, I think the market has found it difficult to sustain above levels of 9,000. And I would want to believe that the indices are actually setting up for a leg down. I think the ceiling for the current move, which is happening today, is about 9,050, 9,100. I think that's pretty much the best case. And I think the chances of the Nifty actually losing about 5, 7, 10% from current levels is quite high. My working number has been 8820. This is the level from where the Nifty rebounded a couple of days back. It has found some support there. But once this level gets violated, we see the indices going down to 8360 and eventually 8,000. Also, if you look at the sectoral setup, there are not too many pockets that can really take this market higher. And if you really look at the banks and the bank Nifty, the fact that it's down 3,000 points from its recent high just tells you how weak it is. So while the screen might look good as of now, I think the market will once again get sold into around the level of 9,000. And this bear market, which remains in play, is going to see a lot more time correction before, you know, we can start a trend up once again.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good summation, viewers. That there might be these bounces that we might see as we're seeing today, but Gautam believes that the larger trend is lower. Now, Gautam, let's try and simplify this. I'm guessing that no downtick or no uptick is without its own share of bounces, so we'll ignore that. My question is, what is the larger component of this downtick? And what is it that could defy it? Now, we'll come to the defiance part in a bit and what could buck the trend. Let's first talk about the ones which could lead this downtick lower. 1,000 points is not small.
Yes, Neeraj, I think first things first, we had a 10-year bull market. 2009 to 2019 was a dream run for the Indian markets. It was peppered with many bear markets in between for a couple of years. But I am starting to believe that what has happened in the last few months is a retracement of that entire bull run. You know, while this is only 2.5 months old for the Nifty, if you actually look at the mid cap and the small caps, they have been in a bear market for 2.5 years. So I think they have pretty much reached their maturity stage. But in terms of sectors, I think it's clearly the bank Nifty which will take this market down. We have been working with targets of 17,100, eventually 16,000, and then even below that. So we are looking at substantially lower levels than the ones hit in the month of March. And I think this will be followed by some of the auto stocks, some of the metal stocks, you know, which have just continuously made lower tops and lower bottoms over many weeks. And many of these stocks have actually turned bottomless. So I think another 15-20% in some of the top line auto and metal stocks looks quite likely. The key problem, I think, going forward is going to be IT and FMCG, because, you know, both these sectors are known to be safe haven spaces. They've usually done well when the markets have been weak. But now, for the first time in many years, on the longer term charts, you have an indication that, you know, both these pockets of the markets can come off. We've already seen what ITC has done. We've seen the kind of underperformance HUL have seen in the last 1 month, and you know, the way Nestle has come off in the recent past. So all of these factors suggest that the FMCG index also could see a sort of a 10 to 15% drop over the next many weeks. And if that happens, it's not going to help the market. And even IT, I think, the index almost moved 8x in the last 10 years. And therefore, there's a lot of room on the downside. So all of these spaces that I mentioned are looking quite weak. The only ones that I think that can stand out is pharma, chemicals, and insurance. And I think we've been putting this out for the last many weeks now.
Yeah, the smart traders, Gautam, don't usually go behind what is commonplace, but it might at times make it a possibility to make the trend your friend. Everybody that I talk to says financials are a lost cause right now. The Nifty Bank is the prime short. Would you reckon that that is the weakest? Sorry, I know you briefly gave that answer, but I just want to juxtapose the Nifty Bank versus some of the other weaker sectors. And what do you think you would want to play on? Nifty Bank more or some of the other weaker hands more?
Neeraj, Nifty Bank is clearly weak. We track the relative strength studies very closely. For the last 5 years, if you actually put in the Nifty Bank over the Nifty, it was in a sort of an uptrend, and this carried on for 5 years. So every time the markets did well, it was always led by the Bank Nifty, and this happened consistently over a 5-year period. But a couple of months back, as the banking stocks made new highs, the relative strength chart versus the Nifty had started to weaken. You had a lower high on that chart, which I think was a very important bigger picture shift that had taken place. And now, given the way it has come off in the last 5 to 7 days, and the way some of the top banks are looking on the charts, whether it's an HDFC, Axis, ICICI, IndusInd, State Bank is already at a 52-week low. I think the kind of setups many of these stocks have, it just tells me that it's going to get weaker and weaker. So I gave you the levels, 17,100 and then 16,000, and I don't even think that it's going to be worst case. So every time the Nifty tries to pull back, it's this pocket of the market which will not allow it to do that. And right now we are just talking about local factors. I think going forward, the kind of level some of the US market indices are trading at, I just get the feeling that they are also likely to come off. And if they do come off over the next few weeks, I think India will be impacted.
Yeah, I think the note that Gautam has put out, which is a fortnightly note on 10th May, says that the Bank Nifty is in the second leg of the bear market. Now, I'll talk about the globe as well, Gautam, but just a quick follow-up, Gautam. I heard you mention some names. I'm not asking for a recommendation, though I know that you at times give recommendations also, or just give views also. I'm just wondering, would it be advisable for people who might have some long positions in stronger names, a Bajaj Finance, an HDFC Bank, a Kotak Bank, would be advisable to get out of those long positions?
See, one will have to really take it on a case-to-case basis. Bajaj Finance has been such a huge underperformer in the last few months. It was the poster boy for a couple of years. People thought that it was invincible. And now as the Nifty has recovered 25% from the lows, Bajaj Finance is actually trading at 52-week lows. And I think the area around 1950 is extremely important if you look at the medium-term charts. If this level were to get violated on a closing basis, it will open up another 20% on the downside. So I think the next couple of days is very crucial on Bajaj Finance. If 1950 is safe, I think the stock can see a bit of a rebound, but I don't think on an end basis it's going to be sustainable because my bigger picture view on the market is negative. Coming to HDFC Bank, I think it's overowned. Still looking quite weak on the charts in comparison to the kind of rise it has seen in the last 10 years. What has happened in the last 2 months is still quite small, and I think that's the scary part. And there are indications on the monthly and on the weekly charts that HDFC Bank will eventually go down and test the March lows and maybe even break it by a wide margin. And when you have HDFC and HDFC Bank so negatively placed, you just cannot help but believe that the Bank Nifty and the Nifty would not sustain at higher levels. And I think the other stock that everybody's been talking about is Reliance and Bharti. I think we like both these setups, and I think over the medium term, I think you are going to see continuing outperformance. So any and every dip there is a buying opportunity.
Okay, I was wondering if I would be in a position to be able to ask you, because so many people have talked about Bharti and target prices, etc. raised, but Reliance very curiously, despite these investments, etc., and despite hitting highs, has come off about 13-14% from the recent highs and made a few people a bit nervous. You reckon that it dips, it might be a good stock for people to initiate some positional longs, Gautam?
I think it's temporary, Neeraj. I think we put out a report that around 1600, Reliance would have completed a V-shaped recovery. If you have a look at the charts yourself, you will understand. And let's not forget, Reliance moved up from 900 to 1600. It had a volley of good news every passing day. And sometimes the market, the market reaches a point where it stops reacting to good news. And it was a sort of a crowded trade as well. 1600, 1620 was a major resistance. So I think this correction is very normal. I think somewhere in the 1350, 1400 zone, it will once again find a lot of support. And I think the rally in Reliance or the outperformance in Reliance is here to stay, not just from a weekly perspective, but over the next 3, 6, 9 months. So, it's one of those stocks where you should be very, very overweight in your portfolio.
Okay, so stay very, very overweight in your portfolio. Now, Gautam, I want to juxtapose the global picture as well. And I think in your note that you put out on the 20th of May, which is today, I think, you're saying that NASDAQ is the index to watch. Why is that the case?
Well, NASDAQ has been the poster boy index. If you really track the world equity markets, I think what a phenomenal rebound that it has seen. If I'm not wrong, it is just about 10% away from its highs of the month of March. So gross outperformance in comparison to the S&P 500 or the Russell 2000 or the Dow. And the components of the NASDAQ, some of these stocks like Apple, Google have done so well that it just seems as if this fall of the last 2 months was a correction. But we remain of the view that even the US markets are in a bear market. They had a wonderful 10-year run. The US markets are correcting that entire 10-year run, and therefore there is a lot more room to fall. And now as we speak, you have the NASDAQ index at a very important level. You have triple negative divergence, you have a gap that has been filled, just to put some technical points in there. And the chances of the NASDAQ index reversing from here is quite high. And it's been seen in the recent past that whenever NASDAQ starts to correct or starts to underperform, the world is slightly different. The world is in a different, the equity basket is in a different space altogether. So I think this really holds the cue for what happens over the medium term. And even on the Dow, I think our mentioned level of 24,700, despite a few attempts, has been respected. And I think the chances of the Dow actually losing substantial ground from here is quite high.
Okay, now the other question, Gautam, and something that pertains to a lot of Indians, right? Gold. And fundamentally, Gautam, there are a couple of factors that hit it, right? I mean, that impact it. One is the movement in gold prices itself globally because of inflation or otherwise. But two, a lot of people forget that the currency movement, and if the INR depreciates, then that also has a bearing on the gold price. What would you do with precious metals? I see that you're writing about silver as well. Maybe you talk about that too. But I do want to talk about what is the largest or the most widespread asset class in the Indians portfolio, that is gold. Let's do gold and do silver, and then we'll wrap up.
We remain extremely bullish on gold, Neeraj. I think we've maintained this call for the last 6 months now. And let's not forget, gold has come back after a 5-year consolidation phase. And the manner in which it has come back and the kind of copybook uptrend that it is right now, I just want to believe that in today's environment and the kind of charts that gold has currently, it is likely to move towards a level of $1,800. And eventually, I do see lifetime highs of $1,920. And in today's dynamic environment and the kind of issues that we are facing, it's clearly a safe haven play. And you are seeing that impact on the charts. So I think this rally is here to stay. One should easily have 15% weightage in one's portfolio into gold. If you're going to be low on equities, you better top up on gold, silver, and some of the other commodities. So we remain positive, and every small dip on gold is a buying opportunity. On the other hand, silver is very interesting because it had a very peculiar relationship with the other, precious metals. And the manner in which silver has come back in the last couple of weeks, it just tells me that this entire 7-year-long underperformance could be coming to an end. So we are looking at a possible target of about 18.5 to 19 on silver. And because gold is already up so much, silver might actually be a better opportunity from a risk reward perspective. So with just about 5-7% downside, I think a 20-25% upside on silver over the next 6 to 12 months looks very likely. So both these precious metals, we would be extremely positive.
Okay, Gautam, let's call it a day. Maybe some other time when we talk about in the next 1 month or 1.5 months, I would love to talk about what could buck the trend. Maybe by then we might be staring at the index substantially lower from where we are right now. But it was lovely chatting to you today, Gautam. Thanks so much for the overarching view on a lot of things and not just equities. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.